What's up, y'all? I think we're recording. We're going to cover a couple things here in this lesson in regards to um, evaluating the personality type. Did I say the personality type? The personality type of the person that you're talking to. And I shouldn't necessarily say personality type, but what we're really trying to do is figure out. Let's take one step back for a second. You'll hear a lot of sales trainers who are going to say the key to success in sales is building rapport, and it's like after a while they keep cramming it down your throat, build rapport, and you're like, I get it, but how the hell do you do it? And I think that we have all had those times where we have gotten on the phone with somebody. You're like, hey, Bob, this is Ben from Link Selling. How's it going? That other person goes, oh, it's going fine. It's great. How was your weekend? Well, mine was good. I got to hang out with the family, got to watch some baseball. Oh, you watch baseball? What's your team? Oh, I like the Cardinals. How about you? I'm an Orioles fan. Tough year for us. And so on and so forth. And you get 5 or 10 minutes down the conversation. You're like, oh, man, this is so great. Just like this person. And or maybe you don't think that. Maybe what you might be thinking is, I'm so good at building rapport with them. And then all of a sudden, you leave that conversation and you're thinking, great, I just need to do that on the phone with everybody because that person was totally aligned with me. And you get on the phone and you're like, hey, Bob, this is Ben from Link Selling. How's it going? And Bob on the other end of the line goes, it's good. What you got? It's like, whoa, am I not building the right rapport? Let me try again. Hey, Bob, did you happen to catch any of the Monday Night Football game yesterday? No, I don't watch football. And you're just like, why can't I build rapport with this person? It's because not everybody is the same. People are different, right? There are certain types of personalities that are out there, certain types of people. Everybody behaves a certain way. And the people who are super outgoing, who you try to build rapport with, not everybody is going to get on the phone and be that way with you. And so how do you really build rapport with somebody? Well, we're going to evaluate 2 different things. One will be quick and one will be lengthy. This will probably be a two-part video. Excuse me. The first thing we are going to do is watch a video by Tony Robbins. It's quick. It's 2 minutes long. And it talks about mirroring and matching. Basically, what we're trying to do is evaluate how a person is behaving, and we want to behave just like them. And Tony's going to say it way better than I can. So actually, the video is pretty short. So I'm going to let him do a summary of this, and then I'll give some final thoughts. And then what we're going to talk about after that is disc profiling. What that is, why that's important, how to evaluate a person on the phone. Because what this comes down to is that the person who gets on the phone and just says, yeah, I'm fine, what you got? That person can have just as much rapport built with them as the person who's like, oh, my weekend was great. I got to hang with the family. We watched some of the ball game, all that stuff. Those 2 people, I can build rapport effectively with both of them pretty easily, actually. Okay. I just have to know what type of person they are. And the reason I want to know this on the call is so that I can mirror them, I can match them, I can align with them, and I can understand what is going to make that person tick. I need to figure out, how am I going to talk to that person, right? I need to know what type of person it is so I know how to talk to them. So let's first take a look at this Tony Robbins video. Hold on. My desktop 1, share. Yeah, I brought this up for our video here. Today is my daughter's 6th birthday. This is my daughter, Claire. Crazy how quickly 6 years go by. That's her as a baby. This is her demolishing a cake on her first birthday. And this is her this morning, just being uber cute. She is a terror and a monster, so watch out for her, but I love her nonetheless. So, you guys get that one for free. But as far as the rest of this lesson goes, I'm going to expand this screen here, and we're going to listen to Tony for 2 minutes. I'll share some final thoughts. And then over here, I actually have a disc profile. We're going to use my own and talk about how to evaluate myself using disc, and maybe we'll look at some other examples and we'll go from there. Here we go. Let's check out what Tony has to say.
There is something that always works to get rapport, and it's something called matching and mirroring. The person who pointed out was Milton Erickson. He understood that you have both a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And he knew the subconscious is more powerful. It's the part that makes your heart beat 100,000 times a day without having to think about it. And he began to notice something about human beings, that when human beings got together, if they got in rapport, a relationship of responsiveness, they became like each other in a variety of ways. What he called, they mirrored each other. But here's the basis of it. People like people who are like whom? Themselves. And people don't like people who are not like themselves. To be more specific, write this down. People like people who are like themselves, or who are like how they would like to be. Now, if you want to be effective then, mirroring is so easy. We do it naturally, but here's the problem. Most people wait till they have enough words in common, that then they put the voice in common and the body in common. But words are only 7%, they don't work all the time. Breathing's very powerful, one of the most powerful. If you breathe at the exact same pace as another person, you will feel what they are feeling, period. But you got to be breathing from the same location, the same tempo. And breathing is magnificent because it really hooks you to this person. You don't have to mirror everything someone does to have rapport. It's not like they lift their leg, you lift your leg, they lean forward, you lean forward, they sit back, you sit back. You don't have to do that, although believe it or not, you can do it a lot and people not even notice. But for example, you can get rapport just with the leg position and maybe the tone of voice, because physiology is 55% of communication. If you're sitting there, let's say you cross your leg like this. Can I cross my leg like this while we're talking? Yes or no? It'll feel comfortable to you. So you start bouncing your foot like this, back and forth. Can I bounce my foot at the same tempo? If I do, you'll feel totally connected to me.
Okay, so that's a real quick 2-minute example, and he uses a word in there, physicality, which I want to talk about for a second. And I'll stop sharing my screen, actually. There's a longer version of that lesson, which I may link to, and you can check it out if you want. But I think that 2-minute video kind of summarizes what I want to talk about, which is the physical nature, first off, of this mirroring and matching, right? So you're going to know when you take a bunch of phone calls, and if you're watching this video, maybe you already have the experience of taking, hundreds, thousands of calls, that let's talk about tempo. You're going to get some people who get on the phone with you and they're going to say, yeah, I've been having a really tough time in my business. I've been trying to get a lot of different things implemented. It just seems like every time I try something new, I don't know if I don't give it enough time. I don't know, and it's like you start hearing that person's pace and the tone of what they're talking about. Not the tone of what they're talking about, the tone in how they are communicating. Versus you may get somebody who tells the same exact story and they say, yeah, I've just been trying a bunch of different things. It seems that every time I try something new, it just doesn't work. I don't know if I'm having trouble in some of the strategies that I'm doing. I just can't get them to, I'm not trying it for long enough. I give up on it too easily. So you can see my pace is much more, it's slow, it's much more deliberate. And so if all of a sudden you're talking to the slow, deliberate person who kind of labors every word, and you show up and you're like, okay, this is great, Bob. I got a bunch of things that we can try and do. First, I want you to sit down, relax. We're going to go through this. It's going to totally break the rapport because it's two different types of people that are talking. And you might even get that the person on the end of the phone might say, you're going too fast. I can't understand what you're saying. Versus if you flip the roles and you get somebody who says, hey, I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking how I'm doing. What do you got for us today? What's the goal of this call? You can tell that this person is very direct. They're very straight to the point. They're very quick. And if you respond to them saying, well, Bob, today on this call, we're going to dive in. And that person's going to be like, come on, Ben, let's go. Pick up the pace. Pick up the pace, because that's the tempo that person is used to communicating at. Much faster pace and much faster tempo. So that word that Tony used, the physicality of things, even though I'm on the phone and I can't see the person, so I can't cross my leg when they cross their leg and so on and so forth, I can listen to the speech patterns, the speed in which they talk. I'm listening for all sorts of information, and I'm trying to match exactly what they're doing. Now, there is a couple things that I will do where I won't try and match directly, because anytime that they're talking about pain, if they're not laboring over it, I will start inserting a reaction of that I'm laboring on top of what they're doing. So say someone says, yeah, I'm just, I get a lot of referrals in my business, and that's kind of delivered in a medium tone. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, but I might give a reaction that's like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, that's only referrals. Okay. All right. I got you. Keep going, because I want to. So there I am doing a bit of a pattern interrupt, which is good because I want them to feel that. But then I will jump back into the flow of how they are communicating. So that is one example, which I'm not going to say break rapport, but break the pattern. But for the most part, when I'm communicating with them, I'm trying to mirror and match them. I'm trying to really pick up on what their speech patterns and the physicality of how they communicate. I want to match those because I want to align with them. Now, we're going to get into some deeper, maybe psychological type of profiling with people, which you can totally do just based on how they communicate and listening to speech patterns. But we're going to take a look in the next lesson. We're going to look at, like I said, my disc profile. I might grab 2 other disc profiles, and we'll take a look at this profile, and we'll talk about the ins and outs of what it means to evaluate somebody on DISC, and we'll go from there. See you guys in that lesson.